In my video, the 5 things I wish another Black woman would have told me before I quit that good job, I briefly touched on how I experienced an identity crisis when I took my sabbatical from work. So today we are going to dig a little deeper into that. But before we do, hey, I'm Pryl, and prioritizing work and living my life based on other people's expectations left me emotionally spent, overwhelmed, and feeling as if I did not even know who I was anymore. So on this channel, we are gonna explore how I stopped being so consumed by work and how I stopped caping and putting everybody else's needs before my own, and how I learned to embrace an uncomplicated life of freedom and joy. All right, now let's get into it. Okay, so the story begins about 5 years ago at my therapist's office. Now, I've been working with her for, I say, about 8-9 months at the time. And, after we did our little greetings and salutations, she said, okay, so we're doing an exercise today. And I want you to talk to me about yourself without mentioning your job, your son, or your accomplishments. And I sat there and I had a couple of little false starts. And then I realized that I could not. Not only could I not talk about myself only, okay, we can get into that in another video, all right? Because you are always the priority. But I could not do it without relying and leaning and bringing in some of those 3 things that she told me not to use. And in that moment, I had a decision. I could either use my energy to keep the facade that I had, the part of me that I showed to everyone that always had the right things to say, who, that dependable friend, that strong, intelligent Black woman, these things that I prided myself in, or I could dodge those emotions and be able to catch them and not let them get to me. And I started crying. Actually, I started sobbing loudly in that office. And I cried our entire time together. I cried on the way home. I cried when I got home. And I continued crying until I had gotten to the point where it didn't hurt like that anymore. And I was crying for all the times that I wanted to and I didn't, and all the times that I needed to and I couldn't. And once I got it out of my system, then I knew that the true work could start. And frankly, I was tired. And I'm gonna be real with you. As silly as this may sound, I didn't even know that I had the option to let go, the option to say, I'm tired of being strong. I'm tired of being the one with all the right answers. I'm tired of being a friend and reliable to other people and not having it reciprocated. I'm tired of always being on. It was exhausting. And in that moment, I let it go and I released it. And I have not looked back since. Okay, now having said all that, let me tell you how I was able to start to move forward and get myself out of that identity crisis. So every day, I begin to ask myself, who am I without those things? Who am I besides being somebody's employee, besides being somebody's mama, and besides having all the things that the infamous they say makes me a productive citizen, makes me successful? Again, these things that I relied so heavily on and took so much pride in. Who am I without them? And I'm gonna be real with you. For a while, it was crickets. I had nothing. I couldn't answer that. But then it turned into single words. And then those words turned into an idea of the Black woman that I wanted to be. And then I hung on to that. And then that imagery of who I wanted to be turned into actual steps. So goals and plans and dreams and aspirations for me. And it's not easy. It's something that I'm still dealing with. Again, I spent my entire life, 40 years, being one way, putting everybody else first. And I had to relearn, and I'm still in that process. Earlier this year, I realized I didn't have any dreams. But you know what? I didn't cry. I didn't sob. I didn't break down because I'd already been there, done that. I know what it is. Let me go ahead and get the steps. Let me go ahead and develop some type of image of what dreams look like for this version of me at this age, at this time in my life. That's why representation really matters. I did not know that this life was awaiting me. I did not know that I had an option to leave that good job, to go against the grain, and to do something simply because I was chasing joy and I wanted to be happy. I didn't even know I had that option. And if you would have told me 5 years ago, when I was sitting in that therapist's office, when I was driving home, when I was sitting right here in this very spot, crying, and at some of the lowest points in my life, that this version of me, absolutely positively Pryl, was the option, was what was waiting on me on the other side, man, I would have ran. So listen, if you have made it to this point in the video, first of all, thank you so much for watching. And also, if you are saying like, that is me, she is talking to me, she is talking about me, or even if I'm talking about somebody that you know, I just want to take a moment to encourage you, because you are so much more than the role or the function that you serve in somebody else's life. You are so much more than the title. You are so much more than the degrees, than the accolades, than the house, the cars, all of those things that you did, not because it made you happy, but because they told you to. I want to encourage you. That version of you, I want to encourage you. Ask yourself every day who you are. Find her, because she's there. All right, I'll see you in the next video.